Well, hi, this is going to be a short video to give you an overview on how to use the online journal library databases to find peer-reviewed journal articles as you start to think about essay number 2. Now, to be clear, the essay you're currently working on, that's the one that you'll be doing the peer review of in the coming days, is essay number 1, and that's a close reading essay. That means that you don't go outside of the novel for your quotations. But for essay 2, you will be expected to find and quote from 2 peer-reviewed journal articles that are connected to the topic you pick. So I want to show you how you do a search for these peer-reviewed journal articles that you're going to consult once you've decided on the topic you want to explore. And it will probably be a good idea when you've finished your essay 1 draft that you start thinking ahead to this essay that you're going to pick to explore for your essay number 2. So to find these, the journal databases that you'll find these peer-reviewed journal articles, you'll need to use the library. So you can Google Miami University Library, or you can access it through your My Miami. Now, my faculty login looks like this, and I can get to the library database using this link here. But if that doesn't look familiar to you, if you look at the Student Essentials, you'll find this link here as well, the Find Books, Articles and More. And if that's not readily available or not coming up for you, you can just type library in the search My Miami, and find it that way. But basically you want this link to Find Books, Articles and More to bring you to the Miami University Library. And the database search appears right here in the top of your screen. Now, I don't want you to go and check out books or anything like that. I want you to find the peer-reviewed journal articles. I am not a fan of Google Scholar. There's a lot of AI written stuff out there. What you want are the articles and more. So I click to highlight that, and then I start typing. Now, when I'm talking about historical context for Dracula, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about looking at the novel as an artifact that was written at a particular time. So it was written in 1897, that's when it was published. And so what we're looking at is how the novel represents what was going on at that time. And reading the novel and thinking of a thesis that you can investigate that looks at what was going on in England and how the novel represents that, what was going on in time. For example, in the 1890s, there was a growing phenomenon called the New Woman. And that was because at the time there were an increasing number of women in England and around the world that were not happy with the fact that they couldn't vote. So in England there was this growing movement and a backlash against that movement. And they called, rather disparagingly, the women that were demanding the vote the New Woman. And so perhaps you might want to think about a thesis that you could defend as Stoker shows in Dracula that he is an advocate for the New Woman, or conversely that he dislikes the New Woman. And then you could maybe show, looking at a particular female character, maybe Mina, maybe Lucy, whether or not he is a proponent of the New Woman, whether he thinks it's a good or a bad thing. And then as part of your reading, you could quote from a couple of journal articles that are about the New Woman, showing what the New Woman was, or explaining what the New Woman was, and incorporating that into your thesis. So to find out a little bit about that topic, what I could do is to put in Dracula and the New Woman. So you can see that I just type that in here and click the little magnifying glass, and immediately I am taken to a list of articles that are related to that topic. Now that's already kind of cool, but to make our list a little bit more relevant, if you look over here in the left hand side, I can limit my search to peer-reviewed journal articles. That would be a good idea. And limit to full text means that I only want to see articles that I can actually read in the full text version. So I don't want an extract or anything else. I'm not worried about only articles written very recently. They're all going to be quite helpful to you. And I can see that Very helpfully, there is a link to a PDF for this first journal article. It looks like this is Stoker's response to The New Woman. I can see who wrote it. There's the name of the journal, the date of the journal, and the pages that the journal is, this particular article takes up in that journal. So I can click on the PDF and there it is. Now another helpful thing is I would get into the habit of actually downloading. So if you see that little click arrow, if you want to print it out, that's fine. But if you want to save some trees, you can click on download and maybe give it a name so you can find it readily. And maybe even create a new folder for it for this particular essay too. And click save, and then I can go ahead and retrieve that article at my leisure. So let's look for another one. I can go ahead and go back to my results list by clicking in the top left hand corner. And just in case you see an article you like but you don't see the PDF, you can click on find it, and you may just have to click a couple of levels down so you can see that I can still get at it by clicking on the links, following the links until I can get to a copy of the article, and there it is here. It's just a different journal article database, so it just looks a bit different, but you can still see I can download the PDF if I want to. Let's do one more example. Perhaps you're interested, instead of The New Woman, perhaps you're interested in maybe Renfield or the treatment of the mentally ill. So let's look at mental health and see if there's an article that's interesting to you related to that topic. It's certainly, at the time in the 1890s, there were certainly changes to the way that mentally ill were treated. You can see doctors, drugs and addiction. If that's an interesting topic, you may have noticed that Seward has an opiate problem, as many did in the Victorian era. That might be something you might want to investigate. And once again, you can get to the PDF that way. And I can scroll down. You can see again, this would be one that we'd have to click around a little bit. But you can explore any facet of the novel that is that reflects the novel being something of its time, be it the technological advances. You could look at the way that the myth of Dracula evolved over time and how it really kind of grabbed the imagination of the Victorians, because it really did. It became quite a phenomenon, not so much during Stoker's lifetime, but certainly after and even to contemporary times. If you have any questions about what to write about, please don't hesitate to reach out, but hopefully this short video will at least get you going with finding some articles that can at least get you going with thinking about what you might like to write about. Read a few articles, maybe download 5 or 6 and skim them until you find something that piques your interest, and then you can go back and find some more articles to support what you want to write about. Don't forget, as you're writing, that you will need to include a works cited that will not only include the novel this time in Essay 2, but it will also, you will have to cite the peer-reviewed journal articles that you quote in your paper. So if you haven't already done so, look at the resources in the course related to how you cite a peer-reviewed journal article. And if you need any help with that, please don't hesitate to reach out to. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with in Essay 2.